Welcome to Real Returns, the real estate investment show that puts clarity, confidence, and cash flow at the center of your strategy. Join host Curtis Waters as we break down deals, decode trends, and deliver the tools you need to build long-term.
Good day. Welcome to episode 102 of the Real Return podcast. So today we're going to talk about how smart investors are using hard money, either from a financial firm or from private individuals, to scale faster and to multiply their returns. So the issue with why most investors stay small is they have limited personal capital. Maybe they have some liquidity or credit issues, generally based on their personal financials. And, they end up missing deals because a lot of traditional financing takes a long time. So, we firmly believe that if you're relying on your own funds, you're playing defense. So, Robert Kiyosaki, and I know some people like him, some don't, but he has a saying I love, and he says that only lazy people use their own cash. So, hard money, it's called hard because it's based on the hard value of the asset. So in real estate, it's private lending based on the value of the real estate. So generally the terms are short, somewhere between 6 and 24 months. The approval can be pretty fast, a couple of days at most. Closing times, I've seen some lenders say, hey, I can do 10. Typically, I see 10 to 14 days. Now, the interest rate is higher, and I know some startup investors are going to look at these rates anywhere between 10 to 15% and go, oh my gosh, that's crazy. I'd never pay that much. But a lot of these properties, the challenge you have is one of, can I get the money fast enough? And a lot of these properties may not be habitable. But what you're going to find in today's talk is that the strategic returns that you get greatly outweigh the cost involved. So, you get the benefit of speed. We talk a lot about the velocity of money, and that speed can allow you to beat other competitors. The lenders don't care how much money you make. Is your credit at least decent? And, will the property itself, upon the exit of the hard money, when you're done, can I either roll that into another loan or flip it? So this is ideal for investors that are looking to scale. The leverage is somewhere between 70 to 90%. I'll talk about people that offer 95 or 100. And what this does is it allows you to minimize the use of your own cash. And it provides a great bridge to a DSCR refinance or a flip. So, if you looked at hard money versus your own cash and the amount you had to put into that, the difference that you run into in your return is pretty amazing. So let's say I bought a property with hard money and I fixed it, it's ready, and then I want to keep it as a rental. So I do a DSCR, a debt service coverage ratio loan. And these lenders do those loans. Generally, you can easily get a 30-year loan, and they're making sure that the debt service, so your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance each month, is covered by generally at least 20% higher than the rent. So I'm going to have a deal here. Let's say you bought a property for 70, you're going to put another 30 in it for a total of 100. And the after repair value, or, in other terms, what the property will appraise at, is 170,000. Now you may say, well, I don't have these type of numbers in my geography. Well, fortunately I do in mine. This is an example. Scale it for what you do. What you find is that you're going to live where you want to live. You're going to invest where it makes financial sense. So in this case, using all cash versus hard money, I had a better return on the cash I invested. So, I didn't invest a whole lot of money, and I ended up getting a much better return. These returns look really different if I'm flipping a property, because now I'm not leaving any money in the deal because I'm selling it, and the return is it's like 2.5 times better return on my cash. So, if you look at mastering this, knowing these financial benchmarks is so important. So, cash on cash return, I will take the pre-tax cash flow that I get in a year and divide it by the cash I invested. So, hard money allows you to really boost your return because it's reducing your capital outlay. So, you might invest $30K. It's a 6-month project, and you exited. You made $24,000 in 6 months. That's 80% if I annualize that over 6 months. Great cash on cash return. So the other benefit you get of using hard money is one of a competitive advantage. So deals are won by speed. They're not won by price. You may find a situation where you see a property, it's a great, would make a great rental, possibly a great flip. And what you find is that someone wants to move fast. Now, if they went with somebody that says, well, it's going to take me a while to put together the cash, or let's say the property's habitable, and I wanted to get this property and rent it right from day one. The challenge that you may run into is having the money is going to make a big difference. Hard money can close in days. It allows you to secure a lot of under market deals. So I want to talk about the risk and how you can mitigate some of that risk in going out and doing hard money. So make sure that your after repair values are conservative. Now, the lenders will go in, and a good lender is going to pull an appraisal. So, don't be shy of going in and telling an appraiser, hey, I realize you're going to pull comps. I found these. Just wanted to make sure you had them all. Make sure the property looks nice. All those are going to be factors to result in a high appraised value. You may want to consider funding the escrow for the rehab up front. So let's say each month the lender says, hey, you're going to pay me the interest on this every month. Perhaps you put that into a fund that you have so that you don't run out of that money. You also should be looking at multiple exit possibilities. If one doesn't work, you have others. Maybe I can refi the property, I can rent it, I could flip it. It's also important to build relationships with reputable hard money lenders. Get references from others. You're looking for a lender that isn't going to change the terms later. You're going to look for a lender that uses an appraiser who does an on-site visit themselves. So I've seen situations where a lender will go in and say, oh yeah, you're going to pay $800, $1,000, a nice price for an appraiser. And they send somebody out who they found. They probably do notary work on the side, and they're going to go in and take pictures and send this back to someone else who may be a licensed appraiser. They may not be. what happens is it's going to result in a lower appraisal value for you. You should also understand the appraiser, and it's not so much the appraiser, it's the financial institution, their comparative value requirements. For instance, if you said, well, I'm going to buy this with hard money, my exit is a 30-year DSCR mortgage, I want to keep it, I want to rent it, you may find that the financial institution you're using for hard money, they're going to tell the lender, only look at sales with cash in the last 90 days. Doesn't give you a great value. And the challenge is the appraisal's likely to come in lower. So ask these questions up front of your lenders. If you're dealing with private lenders, generally, you're going to provide them with your estimate of the after repair value, and in most cases, they're going to check to see, did you get this right? So in order to go in and win at this, you're going to stack the leverage, the ability to go in and use hard money. You're going to stack that leverage with speed to move fast. You're going to recycle your capital and the lender capital, especially if it's a private lender. You're going to recycle that faster, and you're going to build a portfolio with a lot of velocity. So as my mentor, JT Fox, says, you're going to execute like your future depends on it, because it does. So hard money isn't expensive. What is expensive is stagnation. So don't look at this as a cost. It's a tool to allow you to control your growth and to scale. So the higher your leverage, the higher the return. Learn about financial tools and use them like all the pros do. Don't just own property, own the entire process. For more insights, visit my website at entrepreneursreport.com, and I'm also available on social media. Thank you for joining us today.